You also look, Sean, just a little bit at Bhuvi. I'm going to talk about Natarajan as well because impressive from the young man right at the end. But let's just talk about Bhuvi because he's extremely important. He's important to Hyderabad. He's important to India. He's an important bowler.
Yeah, he's hugely important. And, the success they had a couple of years back was down to his performances up front and then some quality batting. And in combination with Rashid Khan, they held things nicely in the middle. So he is huge. And as you mentioned, if he gets some movement, he just asks some questions, he can set a wonderful tone. So it's good to see him bouncing back and someone get best.
And of course, for me, Natarajan in the end.
Yeah, look, in a game where 160 is on the board, you generally you kind of have everyone having to get everything right in terms of your bowling lineup. If someone doesn't get, particularly right up at the front, because if at the front they go, they get close to like 50 in the power play, then you're almost done. The game's just about done because they can bat how they want as they go along. But because of all the pressure that's applied up towards the front and the good bowling where perhaps in the way that Delhi went about it, don't have to go too hard, don't have to do anything too drastic, we'll take what we get, and they get absolutely nothing. Then they've got to go out and try and start making things happen. And in trying to make things happen, as Shaun mentioned as well, against someone like Rashid Khan who comes into the attack, now you're making it difficult. You're fighting one situation, but you're also fighting the fact that the conditions don't really allow, and you've built up a whole lot of scoreboard pressure against yourselves anyway. So it makes the game that much more difficult. Yeah, I think you'd have to give credit to, one, the bowlers keeping their nerve, but two, actually being on target, because they had to be. If they weren't, it would have been another one of those daily nights where they were quite happy.
Yeah, but Paulie even, sorry, yeah.
Natarajan, I thought he was superb, with his Yorkers. I actually thought he went to Yorkers too early. I think it was the 15th or so over, but he nailed them brilliantly. I think the big thing, the surprise has been for me so far in this tournament is we actually haven't seen too many of the guys get down and play the lap shot. And in the past, we used to always talk, well, why not some more Yorkers? The big challenge was that in my day, or Waka Yunus's or Wazim's day, people didn't get down and play the lap shot. So to nail the Yorker was vitally important, and it was very restrictive at times. In the modern day game, there's a lot of people who get down and play that lap. Think of someone like a Butler, for example. But in the last few games, we have seen guys with no real willingness to get down and play that shot. I mean, I know the nature of some of the surfaces has been small, but someone like a Pollard is not a paddler, even some of these guys today. And when you've got batsmen who don't paddle and don't get down on that one knee, if you can nail your Yorkers, they're going to be as effective as they've been throughout the eternity of one-day international and T20 cricket. So what he did today was superb, being able to nail them, knowing that those batsmen he was up against weren't going to get down and scoop him.
But just one last word on the Hyderabad bowling. You are bowling Abhishek Sharma as your fifth bowler. That's what they did today. It was because the other four around him did well, but just I know, Paulie, you said that you liked how he was bowling, but Pommy, what do you make out of him? Is this your long-term solution? Because otherwise they'll have to change the balance of this winning team again. Is he your regular fifth bowler if two or three of the others are going around the park?
So I think today, again, I'll say give credit to the group. Yeah. I think today it might, and it's not, you don't want to take the shine off a team's win. But in an assessment of what is required to try and get 162 and who you're playing against, the first thing that teams do is identify the danger. You have to identify it, and you've got to know who in your opposition is going to stop you getting 160. And the two people you would pick out are Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Rashid Khan. They're in the 11. They're going to lead that attack. What must you do to ensure that you can get over the line, to give yourself a better chance of getting over the line? Don't let them do too much damage. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're taking undue risk at them. I say undue risk because I think there must be some pressure put on Bhuvneshwar Kumar, because the other side of that equation is also true, in that if Bhuvneshwar Kumar tries to start up and you get him away, suddenly there's nowhere else to really go. There are no real options for trump cards. And I don't think they played those two well enough. And so it allowed for the rest of the order to play well. And yes, they bowled really well. On a different day, they take Abhishek Sharma on and they maybe take him down. He bowled well today. He did. But he would be that guy. They'd look at it and say, he's okay, he's good, he can get it right on a day. But we've sat on everyone, and in he comes, we take him down. Yeah. And then as the skipper, you don't really have anywhere else to go. You're trying to find some more overs. And that's not a good place to be if you don't have any more options.